Hey there, NASCAR fans. Welcome back on into another episode of Winning Bets. This is my weekly NASCAR show that we put together here, and I'm joined each and every single week by William Blackwell. How's it going there, man?
It's going good, man. I am looking forward to this weekend's race at Richmond, and I'm also looking forward to talking about this race with you, Jason. And I'm ready to get started.
Yep, let's remind everybody what we do. We give you our picks for a chance to win $25,000 on the Jackpot Races app, another $10,000 on the Nbc Sports Predictor app, and then you can win $1,000 over on the Fox Bet Super 6 app. We always start each week, though, by talking about the previous race, and that was at Darlington at the Cookout Southern 500. Fantastic race. If you didn't like that race, you're really hard pressed to be pleased as a NASCAR fan. That was absolutely fantastic racing right there. Denny Hamlin goes ahead and takes his first checkered flag of 2021. I've got a plethora of things I'd like to say, but first let's hear your opening thoughts on the last weekend's race there at Darlington, William.
This past weekend's race at Darlington was something different. It was crazy from the start. At the start, we saw the 12 car of Ryan Blaney leading the field to the green flag, and we saw an early competition caution. And after that, that's when it all hell broke loose. We saw Alex Bowman wrecking into the wall, Michael McDowell hitting hard on the back straightaway inside retaining wall. William Byron caught up in the wreck. Chase Elliott was struggling too. And many other playoff drivers. And Kyle Busch, I know you can relate to this. That was intense what Kyle Busch did. He hit the wall and did not go down pit road to give his team any chance to look at the car to see if they could even repair it. He just went straight to the trailer and nearly ran over a couple people in the NASCAR garage. And thought it was crazy, but some part of it was a lot of like he was done for doing that. Don't get me wrong, because someone could have easily gotten hit by him and got really messed up. And Kyle Busch just got too angry about the whole situation. And I'm glad to see NASCAR crack down on it and give him a $50,000 fine, but no point reduction, which is kind of fair. But a lot of Earnhardt fans out there might get a little upset because Earnhardt many years ago, I don't know if you remember this, but he said the S word on TV and got points taken away from him. I think it was like 50 or something like that. And it cost him the championship in '04. So Earnhardt fans are not going to like it, but Kyle Busch fans are. And that's one big takeaway from it all, in my opinion.
Yeah, now that's certainly a big takeaway. You hit on a few of my things that I was going to say right there. Obviously, overall theme, though, just fantastic racing, just really good racing. Lots of drama with playoff drivers. You mentioned a couple of them. You obviously had Martin Truex Jr. have some issues and some penalties. You have Kevin Harvick have some issues, Christopher Bell. I mean, the list really goes on and on with playoff drivers that had to overcome some adversity, or maybe they couldn't overcome the adversity, because their car was, wrecked and damaged so bad that it's just DNF'd and couldn't finish that race. So just lots of good drama with playoff drivers. Wild finish. I mean, absolutely wild finish right there. I think Denny Hamlin's lucky that he saw the move come early and stayed up on that high line and blocked him, or otherwise, Kyle Larson probably just flies right by him there with that video game move, that he tried to play there on that last turn right there. So that just a wild finish. Bad day for Hendrick Motorsports. Outside of obviously Kyle Larson, everybody else just had terrible days for Hendrick Motorsports. I really liked the pit strategy that Hamlin, Keselowski, and Buescher did with obviously trimming off one pit stop there. We didn't get to see it unfold because due to the caution, I think it was it Blaney with about 50 laps ago that spun right there. I think it was Blaney. It was definitely Blaney. I think it was about 50 laps ago. But I really wanted to see that strategy unfold all the way to the checkered flag if possible, and see if trimming off one pit stop was going to work for those guys, or how they were going to hold off the field on lesser tires at the end. We didn't get to see that, but that was some really drama that you got to see there. With the 150 or so laps ago, that was building up right there. I mentioned Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson there on that last lap. Larson, I thought, burned up his tires, obviously trying to pass Denny Hamlin right there. He burned up his tires so bad that Chastain almost passed Kyle Larson right there. He had one good look at it, and then that was it. I don't understand why maybe Chastain didn't give himself another look at it. He couldn't have burned up his tires that bad on that one attempt, but Kyle Larson definitely burned up his tires, trying to get past Denny Hamlin right there. Credit Martin Truex Jr. and Kevin Harvick. They both overcome issues, penalties, to both get really good finishes up in that top 10. So good, good work by those teams. Good work by those drivers right there. I even thought Christopher Bell had a good day. I mean, until he had to come down to pit road due to that left rear issue, he was a top 10 driver all day long. That surprised me a little bit. So I thought Christopher Bell certainly had him a good day. And as you mentioned, Kyle Busch, I've got to mention Kyle Busch as well. I've made it there's just no secret here on this show. I'm not a Kyle Busch fan. I respect the driver, respect the talent, but I don't like anything about Kyle Busch. And I thought that, behavior was completely unacceptable. You had the guy with the tires scrambling to get out of the way, driving over the cones. Just uncalled for, dropping the S word, in his interview. That is what it is. And NASCAR is not going to penalize him too much for that because, that puts viewers in the seat and people like that. But his behavior in terms of driving back to the hauler was just completely unacceptable and just goes to really the reason why, like I said, I don't like him. I respect him in terms of his talent, but I'm just not a Kyle Busch person kind of fan right there. So he wants to blame the car in his interview and say he didn't have a good car. Well, didn't he win Pocono when he had like the clutch stuck in fourth gear? So don't tell me you need a perfect car. Don't sit there and blame the car and throw your team up under the bus because maybe you didn't have a perfect car. Each and every week you don't get a perfect car. None of these drivers get a perfect car. They have to overcome issues. So I didn't like anything about that situation, but I'm not a Kyle Busch fan right there. So there you have it right there. What else you want to say about this race, man?
You hit it spot on. Denny Hamlin, starting off, you said he had a great strategy call. Well, these last couple of weeks, he's had some great strategy calls. Besides Daytona, I guess you can say they stayed out. They kind of worked in their advantage. But weeks before, Michigan, in the Indianapolis road course, to be exact, remember, he was riding around 10th place all day long, and at the end stayed out a little longer and had a chance to win it. But Hamlin's crew chief this year is on fire right now. And also, Hendrick Motorsports, they had a pricey, expensive Sunday night at Darlington. Alex Bowman wrecking into the wall, continuing on. William Byron completely wrecking out. Chase Elliott getting tons of damage. And Kyle Larson finishing second. However, he hit the wall extremely hard. That's a big paycheck right there. He's going to have to make. Rick Hendrick will have to possibly the chassis provider. And Kyle Busch, I think we can agree on it, he's a dick. And the NASCAR should have cracked down a lot harder on him than giving a $50,000 fine because that was a person right there that could have gotten hit by that car. Bad things could have happened out of it. And I was a Kyle Busch fan before. Like, I would root for him, but I'm through. That's ridiculous and unacceptable for someone that high up in motorsports.
Yeah, I think during the broadcast, you mentioned the Hendrick things and obviously the car damage that they had on all their cars. Didn't they say on the broadcast, like, Mr. Hendrick was willing to just put a new car out there each and every single week? So I think that's why Carl Larson just said, all right, man, you're going to bring me a new car next week. I'm just going to run this thing up into this video game style. So, yeah, they're obviously motivated to get one of their drivers into that championship right there. So I think we've said it pretty well about Darlington. What about you? Anything else, or you want to turn the page?
Let's turn the page and go to Richmond. Exciting racing there in Virginia. I am looking forward to it, and it's under the lights, and I expect some tempers to flare in post-race circumstances. So we'll see how things go there, but we got to make some predictions here for each of these rounds.
That's right. It's Saturday night at Richmond International Raceway at the Federated Auto Parts 400. I said it when they were at Richmond earlier this season. This is my hometown track. Grew up in Richmond, been to this racetrack a few times, watched the race. Good, short, flat track. If you want any sort of comps, your closest comp is probably going to be Phoenix if you want to do any sort of handicapping. But yeah, I like this racetrack. Like I said, it's in my backyard, so to speak, so I've just been to it a few times. I'm going to remind everybody what happened here back in April. Alex Bowman won. He only led 10 laps, but we all know Denny Hamlin absolutely dominated that race. Bowman got lucky, right? I mean, Harvick was the one that brought out that caution about 10 or 15 so laps ago, and Bowman capitalized. Not that late cautions obviously can happen, but I think at the time he was like 12, 15 seconds behind him, and Hamlin and Logano were the only two cars out in front really battling. Everybody else was really a distant third. So that's kind of what happened back in April. Any of your thoughts, or do you just want to jump on in to these picks?
You nailed it. And yes, that's going to be something to keep an eye on. Richmond is similar to Phoenix. And who does good here might lead to a potential favorite when they go around to Phoenix here in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, I don't know if I know I've got it kind of written in my notes, but I may look for Denny Hamlin to maybe, because this is the 750 package, just like they do in Phoenix, just like they did in Darlington. He's in the prime position where he doesn't have to take this race as serious. He can test something. If he wants to, test something, not as a guarantee he's going to get to Phoenix, but this is a good opportunity for him secured to the next round. If his team wants to do any sort of testing on this 750 package for later races in this playoffs, he's the one driver that can really, Larson too. He's got a really big, sizable lead. But Hamlin, he can really use this to his advantage if he wants to and play his cards. And maybe he has a bad race, but it may be because he went ahead and tested something.
Yeah, and I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
If Denny Hamlin were to be leading at the end of the race and say Kyle Busch or Christopher Bell to follow, would you think he would, and Denny Hamlin and Joe Gibbs Racing will come to an agreement to let them buy to win the race? That's something that I just thought about, and be interesting to see if it were to go on, because Kyle Busch is below the cut line for all the viewers out there, but not realizing right now, which I just figured out this morning. I haven't been paying much attention to it. Christopher Bell is also right there at it. Truex is well above, but man, them drivers are going to have to win and go to the next round, and I'd expect some team to come into team radio calls and messages. Like in Formula One, they do it as a team order. They'll say go past them and go do whatever. We could see team orders come to play at Richmond.
It's interesting you obviously mentioned Kyle Busch in that, because Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch will probably both have great races here Saturday night, and it's an interesting proposition that you bring up, because I think both those cars will be top 3, top 5 throughout this race. So interesting. Can't wait. It's another playoff race. It's gonna be high drama. You just saw what happened at Darlington, folks. That was high drama intensity for all 370 some laps or whatever that was. That was just amazing race. I think you did say it earlier. It's going to spill over here into playoff race number 2. So I look forward to it. Let's go ahead and give these people our picks. Let's start off with the Jackpot Races. This is where you can win $25,000. They give you 5 groups of drivers. You got to pick the driver to finish best amongst the group, and then you got to go ahead and give them a top 3 to go as well to win that $25,000. You're up first, man. Group 1, you got Larson, Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Elliott, Truex, and Logano. Who's going to be this one for you?
This is a really tough round. Kyle Larson has been on fire in 2021. But as of lately, he hasn't been going to victory lane that often. But I'll tell you who has. Your most recent winner, Denny Hamlin. I am picking him. It is his home track, and he's really, really, really good here at Richmond. So give me Denny Hamlin. That's a safe pick.
Denny Hamlin for you. You touched on it, Kyle Larson, but I am not going Kyle Larson this week, folks. I'm going Martin Truex Jr. I liked his performance last week in getting that 4th place finish. He overcame some issues, including a late speeding penalty there on pit road. I absolutely like that. He's been good this season on that 750 package. Remind you guys, he won at Darlington. He won at Phoenix. He won at Martinsville. All those races use that 750 package, just like they'll be doing at Richmond. So I expect Martin Truex Jr. to be good. His last 6 races at Richmond, he's had 5 of those in the top 5. He's had 2 wins. He's got the best driver rating. He's got tied for first in terms of average finish here at Richmond. Yeah, I'm all on Martin Truex Jr. this week in terms of having a nice, good, solid week. So go ahead and give me him in Group 1. For Group 2, we got to pick between Byron, Blaney, Keselowski, Harvick, Bowman, and Bell. The one thing I'll point out, I'll go first before I give you my pick, is notice Kevin Harvick is in Group 2. He's a lot of time he's in Group 1. I think with him being in Group 2, it finally makes him playable in terms of being able to pick him. So just keep that in mind there, folks. But I'm going to go with Brad Keselowski. Going with Brad Keselowski here in Group 2. He dominated this playoff race last season when he led 192 laps. He was fourth and first in those 2 stages. He had a 7th place finish at Darlington. And I've talked about here on this show where I thought he kind of waved the white flag. Some really odd strategy there at the road course and some races leading up to the end of the playoffs. And what the heck Brad Keselowski was doing, but a very nice 7th place finish. I think that showed me that his team and head driver himself has still got some very, very much fight in it. And here at Richmond, he's got the 5th and 7th best average finishes here at Richmond, he's got the 5th and 7th best average finishes at Richmond and at Phoenix, respectively, over in the last 6 races. So I really like Brad Keselowski this week here in Group 2. All right, folks, we got William back. All right, man, who are you going to go ahead and take there in Group 2 amongst those drivers?
Group number 2, you hit it spot on. Kevin Harvick is now in play, but you know what? I'm not taking him. I'm taking Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell has been on fire lately. Really good at Darlington, and he's also really good on the 750 horsepower package. So Christopher Bell right now is the safe pick in round 2. So that's 2 JGR teammates I am picking in rounds 1 and 2.
Yeah, I did like him last week. It was a shame that he had that left rear issue because, man, he was really strong last week there at Darlington. All right, for Group 3, you're up first. You got to pick between Reddick, Dillon, Kurt Busch, Almirola, Dibenditto, and McDowell. Who's it going to be for you?
I'm going to pick Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick, right now for RCR, is their only playoff driver. And I expect him to get the best equipment. And RCR on this 750 horsepower package has been decent. They have been competitive at times, and I expect for him to be up front. I don't think he's going to win the race by any means, but I think he will win this round, and that's what's most important right now. Winning a round in Tyler Reddick is the safe bet.
That's interesting. I thought maybe you would go with Austin Dillon. I mean, I've seen a lot of Austin Dillon chatter, over the past week here on Twitter and what have you, and social media. He's really strong here at Richmond. I like that pick though of Tyler Reddick. I went ahead and went with Kurt Busch though. I went with Kurt Busch. Look, he finished 6th last week. Really liked his showing there at Darlington. He led 113 laps versus Dillon's 56. I think I really had it narrowed down between Dillon and Kurt Busch. That's why I compared the amount of laps that they've had led here at Richmond overall. His driver rating is better than Austin Dillon's, albeit by 0.05. I just like, Kurt Busch. And take in mind, he won this race in 2015 with Stewart-Haas Racing. So he's got some good experience here at Richmond. So go ahead and give me Kurt Busch there in Group 3. For Group 4, we got to pick between Stenhouse, Bushier, Chastain, Suarez, Wallace, and Jones. I am going to go ahead and pick Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I'm going to go against the popular pick of Chastain. I feel like he's going to be popular amongst people who are going to be playing this game. Obviously, he had a fantastic race at Darlington last week. But I'm going with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He was 17th in the spring race there at Richmond, which was only 2 behind Chastain. He was 18th in Richmond in the fall race last year, and a very similar racetrack, at least in my mind, is Phoenix, and he got 12th in Phoenix earlier this season. So Ricky Stenhouse Jr. for me. Who's it going to be for you?
I'm going to go with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. We're going to agree for the first time in a long time.
Right.
And that's because I think to win this round right here, you're going to have to finish with inside the top 15. And I think Stenhouse is capable of doing that. And nothing against Ross Chastain. He did have a great run at Darlington. I just don't see him putting on that same type of performance at Richmond. So give me Stenhouse in this round. That is the safe bet.
Okay, for Group 5, you're up. You got to pick between Briscoe, Custer, Newman, Priest, LaJoie, and Alfredo.
All these drivers right here are very interesting. And
LaJoie's been hot. LaJoie's been hot lately.
Yes, and LaJoie, you hit on it. LaJoie is my pick here. He was on fire last week at Darlington, and the week before, he had a chance to win at Daytona. But, yes, Darlington, that was a big deal there. He raced inside the top 10 for pretty much all of stages 1 and 2, and then at the end, he fell back to 15th. But you got to give credit to where it's due. That team right there, on the average weekend, is racing from anywhere from 25th position to 30th position on back, and he really outkicked his coverage this past weekend at Darlington, one of NASCAR's hardest tracks on the schedule. So I'm going with LaJoie here. That might be a little surprise, but I think he's going to have a great run, and he's also a great short track racer.
All right, very good right there going with him. I struggled with this group. I just quite frankly, I struggled so much that in my notes I don't even have somebody picked. I figured once I sat here, I would just kind of go off gut and go off instinct. I'm not going Alfredo. I'm not going to go with the popular pick, LaJoie. Maybe he's had his moment. I don't know if he can maybe do that again. I'll go with Ryan Preece. That's it. Ryan Preece right there. No justification because I don't really feel comfortable about any one of those drivers. Any one of those drivers could have a good day, or they could all just kind of finish 20 and back, and who the heck knows who could be best. So I'll go ahead and say Ryan Preece. No justification right there. All right, William, you got to give these people a top 3. Who's checkered flag and who's right behind them?
All right, here. Finishing third will be the 4 car of Kevin Harvick. But finishing runner up to him will be the 11 car of Denny Hamlin. But winning the race this Saturday night at Richmond, the Federated Auto Parts 400, will be Christopher Bell in the 20 car. I am glad to see that he's finally gotten going in the JGR car. He won early on in the campaign at the Daytona Road Course. But let's be honest here. That's not a mile and a half. That's a road course. And throughout the season, he was kind of struggling at the mile and a half on short tracks. But since then, since July to be exact, he has sort of came into his own. And right now, he is contending for race wins week in and week out. And I think this time around at Richmond, he's going to get the checker flag. And not to mention, he's really good here at Richmond. He has won many Xfinity races in the past year. And interesting thought there. But Christopher Bell is my race winner.
There you go. Interesting. Well, we agree on Joe Gibbs Racing. I just don't agree on Christopher Bell. I've got Martin Truex Jr. taking that checkered flag. Look, dominant at this racetrack. Hard to ignore it. Again, I love that fourth place finish last week, overcoming issues, overcoming speeding penalties. Thought he just had a really great day. He not probably is going to win. I hate to say that, but he would have been right there neck and neck with Hamlin and Larson at that end right there. So I'm going to go ahead and give it to Martin Truex Jr. for second place for me. I'm going to go and give P2 to Brad Keselowski. Something in me just feeling it. I liked his fight last week. When I did the research, he's really likes this racetrack. He's got some good wins here back in the past. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Brad Keselowski in P2. And I do agree with you that Denny Hamlin will be strong. And I locked him in at the third place finish right there for Denny Hamlin for me. Fourth best average finish here at this racetrack. 4 top 5s in his last 6 races here at Richmond. He's obviously got the best momentum out there. Nobody's got more momentum out there than the guy who previously took home the checkered flag. So I expect him to be strong. My only concern would be, is what I said earlier, is if maybe he tests something maybe late in the race to see it on that 750 package, because he is secured going into next week. But I think he's just going to want to keep that momentum going. So, yeah, I think that'll ride overall. So I got Denny Hamlin going right there in P3. That's how we're doing it this week at Richmond. Pumped for this race. I mean, it's Saturday night. It's under the lights again. This is our second consecutive night race, second consecutive playoff race. Intensity is going to be high and drama is going to be high. I cannot wait to see how this thing unfolds Saturday night.
Yeah, man, it's going to be awesome. And you said it best. The second week in a row that NASCAR has raced third week in a row, NASCAR has raced under the lights. And next week they'll do it again at the world's fastest half-mile track, Bristol. And a week after that, they go to Vegas to kick off round number 2. But let's focus on round number 1, though. You got Richmond. It's going to be exciting. And next week, Bristol. Anything can happen there. And I expect some different drivers to be up front. But that's for a whole another episode. But Richmond, I am looking forward to it.
Yeah, I can't wait for Bristol too. That's another racetrack that I've been to and caught a race at. That's there's not a bad seat in that house. I really liked Bristol the couple times I've gone to that racetrack. All right, tease whatever you probably got an idea in your head on whatever your next video is. Tease the people of maybe your next video that you've got coming out on your YouTube channel.
In this time of year, or during this time of year, more like, on Sundays, I'm going to start doing NFL videos. I've done it in the past, but on Sunday night, as soon as the first play is played on Sunday Night Football, I'm going to post my predictions for the following week's games. But it's an in-depth analysis. But at halftime, I'm going to give out a score prediction video, about a minute and 30 second video. And then on Monday, I'm going to start posting Formula One race predictions for the upcoming race. And I'm also, on that following Tuesday, I'm going to put out my NASCAR Pick 5 contest videos. But that's the schedule for this fall. And I'm also going to add a couple videos here and there for later on in the week. But just stay tuned. But that's all I can pretty much hint right now to all the viewers out there.
All right, sounds like a lot of great content by you, William Blackwell. All your information, your YouTube information, and your Twitter information can be found in this video description. Go check him out. He's got a lot of great content out there. All right, William, enjoy this race on Saturday night, and we look forward to getting back in here with you next week on the NASCAR show, recapping it, and looking forward to Bristol.
All right, man. Take care.
All right, so there you guys have it. Those are our picks for a chance to win $25,000 over on the Jackpot Races app. Now let's move it over to the Nbc Sports Predictor app where you can win $10,000. They give you 3 stages. Pick the driver to finish best amongst that group. Then you also got to give them a top 3 to go ahead and win that $10,000. And also don't forget, guys, I'm also putting $25 up on the line. All you got to do is join the league that is on this Nbc Sports Predictor app and compete against your fellow Winning Bet supporters. If you need that league information, you can grab it from this video description. And again, I'm putting up $25 each and every single week. All you got to do is beat your fellow supporters. Just get the most points and you can win it. If we take a look and see who won it last week, it was D. Barb. D. Barb went ahead and was the winner with 60 points, and he or she even correctly predicted Denny Hamlin to be the winner. So just a really nice showing there by D. Barb collecting those 60 points and getting that $25. Just go ahead and hit me up on Twitter, drop me that PayPal information, and I'll go ahead and send you $25. All right, now let's go ahead and give you my picks for stage 1. I'm going to go ahead and give you Martin Truex Jr. For stage 2, I'm going to go ahead and give you Brad Keselowski. For stage 3, I'm going to go ahead and give you Kyle Larson, and I did go ahead and mix it up here for my top 3. I'm going Truex, Keselowski, and Kyle Larson right there. All right, let's move it over now to the Fox Bet Super 6 app where you can win $1,000. They give you 6 questions. Correctly answer all 6 questions to split that $1,000 prize. For question 1, which driver will have the best position at the end of stage 1? I'll go ahead and say Tyler Reddick. For question 2, which Chevy or how many Chevys will be in the top 5 at the end of stage 1? I will go ahead and say 1 Chevy. For question 3, which driver will be the worst position at the end of stage 2? I'll go ahead and say Ryan Blaney. How many Joe Gibbs racers will be in the top 10 at the end of stage 2 is number 4. I'll go ahead and say more than 1. Which Hendricks driver will have the least amount of points at the end of the race? I'll go ahead and say Alex Bowman. And question 6 is which driver will finish in the best position? I'll go ahead and say Brad Keselowski. All right, guys, that's how we're doing it. $25,000, $10,000, $1,000. Lots of money can be yours at the end of this Richmond race. I wish you good luck on your picks. Go ahead and hit that like button on your way out. Enjoy that race, and we look forward to seeing you back here next week on our weekly NASCAR show. Have a good one. That was a lot of fun. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and good luck with your picks. If interested in placing real sports bets, then check out my latest daily free sports betting video in the bottom right corner. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next contest.